I think it's safe to say, without a doubt, this is the worst year for comic movies. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're ranking all 5 2024 comic movies that I have seen, from the worst to the only one good one. Let me know your ranking down below in the comment section. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and can you name a worse year for comic book movies? If you can, let me know down below. This is going to be a very negative list. And starting things off, right at number 5 is going to be Madam Web. The Sony Spider-Man list universe is officially over with. And Madam Web, I had no excitement for that. The trailers were awful. And this is just one of those movies where I was like, how does this have a budget and these big name actresses like Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney? How does everyone in this movie committed to this movie, like promoting this movie? It made absolutely no sense. Like, why would you want to be attached to this project? It's the only thing I kept thinking about while I'm watching this movie. And then to kill your main villain with the Pepsi sign, I mean, just good riddance to this universe. And what a terrible movie with some kind of god-awful marketing as well. At number 4, barely above it, is Joker Folie à Deux. This is the most disappointing movie of the entire year. Now, I was skeptical going into this one because the first Joker was great. Did we need a sequel? Absolutely not. And with this one, why was this a musical? And it wasn't even like a musical, because Joaquin Phoenix was just talking and singing and not really singing. It just made no sense. And then when you hear like the extras, like Tim Dillon, who was on a Joe Rogan podcast recently, he said he was an extra in that movie, and they were all sitting in the background talking to themselves, and they said, this is going to be terrible. If the extras of the movie are saying this is going to be terrible, what are we talking about here? It's a complete dumpster fire. It is a complete mess from start to finish, and it is incredibly boring. Just one of those movies that didn't need a sequel, but we got one because the first one did $1 billion, so it makes sense. But just try to like do something different, and I respect you for trying, but just sorry, awful. At number 3, barely above that, is going to be Kraven the Hunter. Now, I have this above the previous two just because when the action is there, the action's decently cool. Nothing great, nothing spectacular, but also I like Aaron Taylor Johnson, so anything he's in, I kind of just go a little easier on because I'm a fan of this guy, and I think he did the best he could. But can we just talk about the performances in here? Russell Crowe, I said the other day, Russell Crowe is pretty much good in everything. Then I see Kraven the Hunter. Well, he wasn't too good in this movie, okay? It seemed like majority of these people throughout this movie could not act. You have Russell Crowe, Academy Award winner. Ariana DeBose, Academy Award winner. What are we talking about with these terrible performances throughout here? And then in the beginning, we really kind of just knew that I was going to be in for a whirlwind of disappointment throughout this movie, because I was actually excited for this one, was when we went for like a 30-minute flashback towards the beginning of the film. I knew we were probably going to have a couple, but this long, this one, I was like, my daddy's mean to me, so now I'm the hunter. Ah! Just got kind of dumb and stupid and over-convoluted, and it looked like they're going to set up for a sequel. Doesn't think we're going to get a sequel now, and Rhino just looked terrible, and like, for him to be like the main villain, but like, Kraven's a villain, so I get they're anti-heroes, but like, he's the villain, so like, a lot of it just didn't make sense, and then all like the Spider-Man references throughout, I mean, just absolutely terrible, and again, this is only higher than the other two, just because the action at times is cool. At number 2, Venom: The Last Dance, I can confidently say, this is a 2.5 out of 5. The others are like 1.5s out of 5. Venom: The Last Dance isn't absolutely atrocious. Now, don't get me wrong. This kind of franchise with Venom kind of went on just a little bit too long. And certain things just didn't make sense here. Like the whole, always wanted to dance with a symbiote, when like the whole point of the movie is you can't be in the symbiote because like it's going to cause everyone else to come and find him. Then that was a big plot point that was just so dumb and so bad that kind of infuriated me. And Venom himself isn't in this movie a whole lot. So it's like, it should be called Eddie Brock, The Last Dance. And then at the very end, when you had all the symbiote suits come on, that's when I was like, that was kind of cool. I'm not going to hold you. That was kind of cool. But nonetheless, these Venom movies, they all have some fun in there. The bromance between Eddie and Venom is what makes these movies at least somewhat enjoyable. But that third act with all the symbiotes on screen, I was like, okay, I don't hate this. I don't absolutely hate this, but by any means, it's not a great movie. But at number 1, Deadpool and Wolverine, I would say the only good comic movie to come out this year, and a movie that I still do have quite a bit of problems with. But since we are on such a negative track, let's talk about the highlights here. Hugh Jackman is the biggest highlight of this movie because he is such a good actress, one of my favorite actors of all time, and the way he gives these deep, mean, menacing monologues in the car scene or when he's talking at the fire, that right there just hits you in the gut, hits you in the feels, and then the cameos throughout this movie make it for just a very, very fun time. They call me the Gambit. The Gambit is someone I've been wanting to see in the MCU for so long. I'm a fan of X-Men Origins Wolverine, definitely a guilty pleasure movie, and I loved Taylor Kitsch's Gambit in that movie. So to see Channing Tatum as a Gambit was awesome. This had several moments where it's kind of you were laughing at how absurd it got, but also when those cameos came in from the Human Torch to the Gambit to Elektra to Blade, you were like, holy shit, I can't believe that actually happened. So that's what for me made this movie so enjoyable, made me have fun with it. It's just the humor throughout this movie does not land. I find it painfully unfunny. That's my big problem throughout this one. And then the story and kind of how absurd it gets is really where I'm like scratching my head just a little bit. I'm tired of the TVA, but nonetheless, good to see Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool in the MCU. And it's really good to see Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine inside the MCU. Overall, this was a huge win for Marvel. One of the highest grossing movies of the year and easily, without a doubt, the best comic book movie of 2024. That's going to do it for my comic book 2024 movie ranking. Next year is going to be a fantastic year for comic book movies. Hopefully. Let me know your ranking down below. And again, if you can name a worse year for comic book movies than this year, let me know. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell. Thank you guys for watching and for being here almost the end of the year. Absolutely crazy. I'll see you guys in the next one.